So for instance, if you're playing in a race to 9 10 ball event, then on a 9-foot table, then I would recommend finding a 9-foot table to practice on. Practice some 10 ball, if there's, and just practice the game, and if you're good enough to like break and run racks, then my recommendation would be to just work on your break, because the better you break, the easier the game is. And that if your break gets to a high level and then you can start to break and run racks, then now what you can do is just see, okay, well, what shots am I failing on these break and run opportunities, and then practice those shots. And then, that's your offense. And if you have a good moving game, then I wouldn't necessarily say that practicing the moving game is that important. For me, I don't ever practice the moving game. The moving game is a different thing to me. It's like each place that you put the ball has a certain thing. It's more about like the moving game to me is the same as the offensive game. Every shot is you move the cue ball with your stick and it goes and hits a ball, hits a rail or whatever. And then ultimately there's a final position of the balls. And all that is, you have to choose a shot that's physically possible. And that any shot that's physically possible, you should be able to execute with a certain percentage. And now it's a question of whether you've decided to shoot a shot that is high enough percentage to accomplish and is physically possible. And that once you've decided that my percentage of choosing a move versus choosing an offensive shot either increases my percentage chance to win or reduces it, then you'll know what to do. It doesn't matter how good you are at any of it. It has more to do with your ability to understand what you're capable of and what the table is going to allow you to do. So I think that if you're going to play in a big tournament, that it helps to compete a little bit more beforehand so that you can get used to match play if you haven't been, and practice your offense, practice your defense if you can, but that's more against playing against this particular opponent, I would say, and that for myself at least. And, try to, in your mind, put yourself in the best position to where your narrative is such that you can have a good outcome. If you go into it knowing that you didn't practice and you didn't do the things and you've been eating like trash and that you haven't been thinking about how successful you're going to be, and you haven't, and your exercise regimen is not great, so you're physically a little bit weaker than you could be,